in what has been truly a highly anticipated return to the Masters. We are greatly pleased to welcome to the press building our four-time Masters champion, Mr. Tiger Woods. Tiger, it is great having you back, and thank you for the time.
Thank you. No, it's great to be back.
Yeah. 1997, 21 years ago, you're 21 years of age, and you win by 12 strokes. Looking back now, where does that fit in the Tiger Woods scrapbook of life?
Well, of all the tournaments I've won, that was by far the most important tournament I've ever won. That was my first tournament first major championship as a professional. In 1997, that was the last year because they changed the rule on the PGA Tour in '98 that we would be getting a 10-year exemption on the tour. So I had a job for the next 10 years out here. And so, I mean, you guys laugh at it now, but I mean, that was the coolest thing in the world. In '98, Mark wins twice and only gets 5 years. So it was a big thing for me to be able to win the major championship and to do it here at Augusta National with my dad there. And it was just an incredible week and one that I certainly will never, ever forget.
Awesome. Well, it has not been even a year since your last surgery. Yeah. And was there a moment or a time or a feeling when you felt, yes, I can compete in 2018 Masters?
That was probably not until after we played the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas in December. But prior to that, no. I hadn't played a tournament yet. That was my first tournament back. I felt very comfortable, felt very good. The body was good, but just really stiff. But after, a few tournaments in, I felt more comfortable. Started getting used to what I can do. And then I started putting the pieces together that started, preparing to play events, started competing and keeping score and posting numbers. And all of a sudden I started getting my feels back and, here we are.
Great. We'll open up now for some questions. Mark, we'll start with you.
Tiger, can you talk about how today's practice round with Phil came about and when the last time you guys played in a non-team event in a practice round together and how much fun the atmosphere was? Just describe the atmosphere.
Phil's was off, today's Tuesday, so off yesterday. He just came in here to register and he asked Joey if we were free for a game. And we were free yesterday, but he was taking the day off. And so Phil and I talked about it and decided to play today. And we partnered up against Thomas and poor Freddie. He has a long golf course for Fred, but he had a young stud as his partner. But it was good, though, because, it was an appearance fee. So we enjoyed it.
Steve?
Two questions. Are you looking into buying one of those shirts that Phil was wearing today?
I was giving him a little bit of grief about that. The only thing he was missing was a tie.
And we've heard a lot about your back, how well it's doing.
Uh-huh. How's the rest of my body's doing fantastic. I feel great. I feel like I've really put a lot of the pieces together. We've worked on what body parts to get stronger, what body parts need to be more limber, and I feel fantastic. It's just a matter of now going out there and competing and playing and posting numbers.
Bob?
Tiger, you've been able to prepare for this tournament, playing 5 events. Obviously, you came up here yesterday, today, whatever you were able to do at home last week. Can you put in perspective just how futile, knowing that, how futile your attempts were the last 2 years trying to get ready for a tournament you obviously couldn't play?
Yeah, in hindsight, it was a big pipe dream. My back was fried, and to be able to, I was trying, whether it was cortisone shots, epidurals, anything to take away the pain, so maybe I might be able to withstand a week. Nothing worked. My disc was gone. So, giving how I feel now versus then, it's just night and day. I mean, I've got, just how I felt coming here for the dinner and when I left. And now that I'm walking this golf course and playing and hitting shots and not really thinking about anything, it's hard to believe it's been less than a year since my back procedure.
Paul? Paul, yes.
Tiger, welcome back. Some people are saying that if you were to go and win here this week, it would rank as the greatest sporting comeback of all time. I wonder if you have a view on that, and in any case, what for you is the greatest sporting comeback of all time?
Well, I have 4 rounds to play, so let's just kind of slow down. I've had anticipation like this prior. If you remember, the buildup was from the PGA in 2000 to the Masters in 2001, 9 months of building up, what that tournament would mean. And, it's the same thing. I got to go play and then let the chips fall where they may, and hopefully I end up on top. But I got a lot of work to do between now and then. And as far as, greatest comebacks, I think that one of the greatest comebacks in all of sport is the gentleman who won here, Mr. Hogan. I mean, he got hit by a bus and came back and won major championships. The pain he had to endure, the things he had to do just to play, the wrapping of the leg, all the hot tubs, and just how hard it was for him to walk, period. And he ended up walking 36 holes and winning the U.S. Open. And that's one of the greatest comebacks there is, and it happens to be in our sport.
Tara?
Tiger, how would you describe your relationship now with Phil? We obviously are fascinated by it. Are you better friends? Do you find yourself, you personally, a little more interactive on the course with your competitors, but specifically with Phil?
I think Phil and I we've been through it for so long, and we've been together on these teams long enough. And then when I got hurt, and I had to take a different role on the teams, being assistant captain and really trying to help out the side however best I possibly could. Phil was great. He was trying to help me out when I was trying to make a comeback. My body wasn't feeling very good. How can I help? And our friendship has gotten stronger over the years. We've competed a lot of times coming down the stretch in events. We were joking today about some of the stuff that has transpired here. We've gone through it a long time, and better part of 20 years. Our friendship has certainly gotten a lot better, and I think it's just age as well. We're at the tail end of our careers, and we both know that. He's 47, I believe, and I'm 42, and we've had a great 20-year battle. Hopefully, we'll have a few more, but we understand where we are in the game now versus when we were in our early 20s, battling for who's going to be number one, and that was then, and certainly this is now.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have a question in the second row, please? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Hi, Tiger. I was thinking back, it's been 8 years since we all were talking about your personal life, and you were criticized by a lot of us, certainly by me, by Billy Payne and others. I'm wondering now, when you look at the political climate, when you look at where we are as a country, if you look back and say that was harsh or unfair, that maybe you were treated too harshly. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play in the Masters this week.
What did you learn, if anything, from that moment?
I certainly learned a lot, and it's certainly helped me in my life and my career.
Yeah.
Karen, please.
Tiger, in hindsight, this is a follow to Bob's question. Do you feel as if the competitor in you pushed to return from those first few back surgeries before your body was ready?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I did that too soon, and I did that with my knee operations too soon. I had surgery in December in 2001 and played in 2002 at Torrey and ended up winning the tournament. But it felt awful. but still won. And
So that was
that's,
what mattered.
That's what we do as athletes. We want to compete. We want to get out there and mix it up. And part of being an athlete is dealing with pain. Unfortunately, we're pushing the boundaries in our bodies and minds. And unfortunately, a lot of times we go over the edge and we break down. But thank God there's modern science and fix us and put us back together again.
Joy?
Tiger, I just wanted to ask you, somebody like Shubhankar Sharma from India, who's 21-year-old, and he says that he is in the game, and what he is doing right now is because of someone like you, watching someone like you. What does it mean to you at this stage of your career as a 42-year-old statesman of the game when some of these youngsters come up and say things like this?
I'm still getting used to that part because I don't feel like it's been that long that I've been out here and competing and playing. I know it's gone by super fast. A lot of these kids have some of their first memories of when I won my last major championship. That's what's crazy. Like, for instance, we're talking about Thomas Peters today. He was born only a couple months before Fred won here. And so it just puts it in perspective, for us. And for me, especially, hearing some of these guys, it really started hitting home when I was playing, or not playing. I was being a vice captain of the last two teams. And, some of the questions they asked or some of the things they would say, that's what they saw. And it's flattering, it's nice, but I still want to compete and I want to beat these guys. And hopefully this will be a good week.
Yes, sir.
Tiger? Mm-hmm. Hi there. Can you just take us through a little bit first of all, are you a little bit surprised even yourself at how much power you've been able to generate coming off of back surgery, multiple back surgeries, and if you're not surprised, or if you are, how you've kind of got there just to be generating club head speeds that are comparable to what you were doing in your prime in a way?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll be honest with you, it is crazy. I thought prior to the fusion surgery that's pretty much it. I'll have a nice, comfortable, and great life, but I'll never be able to swing the club like I used to. Speed-wise, there's no way. Lower back fusion. But for some reason, I don't have any pain. Yes, I'm much tighter, but I don't have any pain, and I've had to really work on strength in different ways. And for some reason, it's come back. I wish I could tell you, I wish I knew, but all of a sudden I have this pop in my body and my speed's back and my timing. And, I'm hitting speeds that I hit in my prime, but granted, in my prime, I was 43.5-inch steel driver, softer ball, and I was swinging about 126 to 129. Longer, lighter, graphite, titanium. I'm able to get balls harder now than it was then. Yeah, but still the swing numbers are still up. I'm north of 120. And that's what's the shocking thing is I didn't think I'd ever reach north of 120, and I'm cruising at 120. And so that part is very exciting because I know that if I can maintain this, I can play out it for a very long time. Being able to have the length to get around pretty much any of the golf courses. It doesn't have to be specific golf courses that I have to play because some of the courses are just too big. That's not the case.
Ann?
Hi, Tiger. So what is your training like now to avoid perhaps any reoccurrence, and how do you avoid thinking about the possibility?
Well, my team has done a fantastic job of getting me in shape. My core is stronger. My legs are not quite as strong as they used to be, but the endurance is back, and I certainly have a lot more mobility in certain parts of my body, and that's where I've gotten more into non-weighted activities like swimming. So trying to lengthen my body. I can still get the endurance. I can still get the long burn. I can still feel the lactate building. That's all great, but I'm just not loading my body like I used to. And my practice sessions are nowhere near what they used to be. You know, I'm not on that range practicing for 4 or 5 hours just hitting golf balls like I used to. It's, you know, concentrated for an hour and I'm out of here. I can't stand out there for that long and do it. And so I've had to really be more focused on my practice sessions and try and get things done quickly because I just can't afford to push it for that hard and that long. And that's also maybe the function that I'm 42 now.
John?
Tiger, when was the last time you felt as good as you are now?
Oh, it's been probably 7, 8 years.
Doug?
The players, I mean, the respect for you from the players has been around since '96, if not before, and grown ever since. But how does it feel to be liked by so many of these guys? And why do you think that's happened? Is it age? Is it absence for the last couple of years? What?
I think they just missed my sharp needle. You know, this is like a fraternity. When somebody gets hurt, someone gets sick, you know, we bond. We come and try and support them as best we possibly can because we all know what it takes to be at this elite level. And I think that, you know, a lot of the players, especially the older players, really understood what I was kind of going through because we've all dealt with injuries, especially if anyone's ever had nerve issues. They understand. And some of my best friends are you know, guys I grew up playing on tour. But this new young group of guys, I got to really know them the last couple of years on these teams and trying to get to know them as best I possibly could so I could help them for those particular weeks. And we've just had a great time. I've gotten to know them on many different levels and be able to watch them play. They've asked me questions, and I've just tried to be as helpful as I possibly could. And I think that's, for some reason, I think this fraternity is very strong out here, and I'm part of it.
You always feel like part of a fraternity out here?
Not when I first came out, no. I was the youngest one. And it wasn't, when I first turned pro, when I was 20, no one really did that at the time. I know some of the European players, they didn't attend college over here in the States. They were playing professional golf earlier. But in the States, that was very uncommon. And so it was not for probably 2-3 years before the guys that I had grown up playing golf with came on tour. And then, you know, you look at, what was it, JT, Ricky, Jordan, Berger, you know, all those guys grew up playing junior golf and college golf together. When Jordan first came out here, it was like a year or two before some of the guys started filtering out here. And that was the same for me when I first came out.
Zach?
Hey, Tiger, right now, thank you. It seems the game's best are all playing their best at the same time. Please take yourself out of the equation. Who do you consider the favorite this week and why?
I don't think there's one clear-cut favorite. I think there's so many guys playing well at the same time. And I think that's what is making this year's Masters so exciting, is that there's so many guys. There's not just one person that has run away with it early in the year. There are guys from their early 20s to, you know, Phil at 47 that have all played well. And that's what's exciting about this year. And we know we're going to have to play well in order to win. And it's going to be quite a challenge. It's going to be fun. And I think that everyone's really looking forward to it, not just from the spectators, but from the players as well.
Jeff?
Tiger, you mentioned this would be your first time on bent grass greens in a couple of years. What does that entail for you adjustment-wise? And then just your overall impressions of the golf course, having not been out on it in a while, and any changes, anything that has caught you by surprise?
Yeah, Jeff, it's pretty funny. It is my first event in probably 2.5 to 3 years on bent grass. I've been away from it for a while. At home, my grass is Bermuda, and it's crazy the ball rolls very true. It doesn't bounce all over the place. It's not being swept away with grain, and it's like a pool table. And this golf course is something else. The amount of break that we have to play here. I've played basically relatively flat golf courses, with break. Some have a little bit of movement, but nothing like this. This place is very different. The amount of movement, and that's one of the things I've tried to get used to. Again, is seeing how much break I can play. Being more creative and open-minded about how much there is. What the dying speed is. I mean, sometimes it's twice as much as when I first look at it, and that's just something I'm still getting used to, and I'll probably have a better feel by tomorrow. I'll be ready to go Thursday.
Jeff?
Tiger, you were standing next to Phil on 15 as he was hitting those high, soft flop shots. And you talk about your history going back so far. Is there any shot in his repertoire that makes you the tiniest bit envious? And what's your take just on Phil as a competitor inside the ropes?
Well, the shots that he was hitting back there, the middle one wasn't so bad because it was still played uphill. That's what we're talking about, where to miss it to that flag. And yeah, it was a great shot. But the one to the right was just silly. And we were talking about the flop shot he hits. I mean, he has a 64-degree wedge, too. And so when he lays that thing open, it looks like it's actually faced backwards. And he hits that thing, and I don't know how he doesn't hit himself. It's incredible. What were we saying the second part was?
Just him as a competitor.
As a competitor? Yeah. Oh, man, he's very, very competitive. He's feisty. He's determined. He always wants to win. And it has served him well. I mean, he believes in himself an awful lot. And you see the chances he's taken over the years. The reason why he does it is because he knows he can do it. And he has that belief. And that's what has separated him. That's why he's won so many tournaments. That's why he's won so many major championships, is that he truly believes he can pull it off. And that's what you have to have. You have to have that belief.
Richard?
Tiger, from a personal standpoint, how hard has it been for the last 3 Aprils to be on the sideline? Did you put distance between us and yourself, or did you watch on television, or how hard was that?
It was very difficult, very, very difficult. The last 2 Champions dinners I came up for a couple of years ago, it was really difficult because we know Arnold wasn't doing well, and Jack and I helped him into the dinner where we were going to take our photo, and then I helped him over to his table in his seat where he was going to sit down for the dinner, and that was tough to see, my friend like that. And then last year to feel so uncomfortable just sitting because my nerve was on fire. It was going down my leg and it was just burning, and so the last couple of years have been tough. And then I've watched every bit I possibly could. And I love the Masters. I will always watch it. I've played it, so I know where the guys are trying to hit the golf ball. And I say, ooh, that's going to be a tough one. Or, man, that's a hell of a shot. People don't realize how good that is. Things like that. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy the ambiance, the way the Masters tournament really sets it up for a dramatic finish. They know how to do it, and they do it right. And from pin locations to tee setups, and I just absolutely love watching it.
Bob?
It's even more fun playing it, though.
Tiger, have you been
Bob, where you at?
Have you been able to? I know it's just been practice rounds, and the time when you were here a while back it was pretty cold, but are you able to tell how much different it is compared to when you played here in 2015? You got shorter irons into par 4s or the par 5s? And also any tweaks in your equipment since Bay Hill?
Yeah, I've tweaked my shafts in both my driver and my 3-wood. Course changes. There have been some resurfacing of greens since the last time I played. 12's a little bit different. 10's a little bit different. As far as everything else, it looks like it's been here for 150 years. And that's just incredible how they do it. And my book is the same as it was in 2015, so there wasn't a lot of changes that we had to do in our prep. Mainly, I just had to get used to the feel of playing off of a lot of uneven lies, different shot shapes I've been playing in Florida, hitting the ball low all the time, not bringing the ball up. And then on top of that, how to drop the ball in there with the correct spin on these greens and where to miss it to certain spots. And that I've done a lot of that prep at home, just thinking about it, setting up scenarios in my head where I need to be.
Well, we have time for 2 more questions, and we'll begin those last 2 with Mr. Lord. Over on the left.
Well, Tiger, you spoke about the high level of competition here. Do you feel like you'll have to play your best golf to win?
I really hope I'm playing my best golf. This is a tournament I think that where experience does help a lot. I mean, I have played here and I've won here not playing my absolute best, but there's got to be a certain part of my game that's on. And, I think that this tournament really helps with having the experience and really understanding how to play this particular golf course. And I've played well over the years. I've won here a few times, and but all those years that I've won, one part of my game has certainly stood out. And whether it's driving the ball like I did in '97, and putting it a couple of years where I really putted well, or hitting my irons and hitting a lot of greens, but not only when I missed the correct spots every single time. There's got to be some certain parts of my game that got to be on, and hopefully this will be one of those weeks.
Don?
Tiger, you wrote recently that you think you've had a second lease on life. You are now a walking miracle. I wonder if you could expand on that and just give us an idea of how dark a place you were in and how far you've had to climb.
Well, it's been a tough road. I've described a little bit of it, the pain of just sitting there, and the amount of times that I've fallen because my leg didn't work, or just had to lay on the ground for extended periods of times. Those were some really dark times. The reason why I said I'm a walking miracle is that I don't know of anyone who's had a lower back fusion that can swing the club as fast as I can swing it. It's incredible. Some of the guys have said I need to fuse my back so I can hit it harder. No, you don't want to go through that. But that's why I said it is a miracle. I went from a person who really had a hard time getting up, walking around, sitting down, anything, to now swinging the club. You saw it at one of the TrackMans, 129. That is a miracle, isn't it?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much. And Tiger, we wish you every success this week.
Awesome. Good job.